The Sanders campaign is hoping voters in Michigan and Mississippi will feel the burn. Both states hold their Democratic primaries tomorrow. Bernie Sanders had a strong weekend, winning 3 states, Kansas, Maine, and Nebraska, while Hillary Clinton won Louisiana. But he's trailing Clinton by more than 600 delegates.
Joining us now are CBS News senior editor Steve Chaggaris and CBSN political contributor Lynda Tran. Thank you both for being here. Lynda is also a founding partner at 270 Strategies. Before we start, we should disclose that several employees at 270 Strategies do some work for the Hillary Clinton campaign. However, Lynda does now. Steve, let me start with you. How critical is tomorrow for Bernie Sanders?
Well, every contest is critical for Bernie Sanders. He's way behind the delegate count, and so he needs to win some big states. You talked about how he won 3 states over the weekend compared to 1 for Hillary Clinton. It's not about numbers of states, it's about numbers of delegates. And even though he won more states, she kept pace with him in terms of number of delegates. She won Louisiana, which has more delegates, and she won by a larger margin. So he's got to start winning states and winning more delegates than her. And right now, the math, I mean, he's way, way behind. She has a huge advantage among super delegates. These are delegates that aren't awarded through these contests, that are VIP Democrats who have pledged their support to Hillary Clinton. But they could change if something happens in terms of Hillary's campaign, if there's an implosion, if there's if she, whatever, she gets indicted, anything. But right now, as long as those super delegates are behind her, the math is almost insurmountable for Sanders at this point.
But Lynda, if Hillary Clinton does win, for example, Michigan and Mississippi tomorrow, the question, I guess, is will that change Sanders, what he decides to do? He said he's still raising a lot of money. He's going straight to the convention. Is that the ideal?
Look, I think that his performance last night at the debate showed that this guy is not going anywhere. Increasingly, he is more aggressive in the way that he's engaging Secretary Clinton. And as you said, he's got a huge pot of money that he can lean on that will allow him to continue to bring up the issues that matter to him, continue to put him front and center, actually regardless of what happens tomorrow in Michigan or Mississippi.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the Republicans. Steve, so far, Marco Rubio has only won Minnesota and Puerto Rico. How does his campaign convince donors and supporters that his campaign should keep going?
Well, it's really, he just needs to win, right? It's just like in the Democratic side. You got to start winning states to prove to people that you are a legitimate, you have a legitimate shot at the nomination. And what we're seeing with Rubio is actually he's starting to fade. If you look at what happened over the weekend, not only did he not win anything except for Puerto Rico, but he actually was trounced by Cruz and Trump in a lot of states on Saturday. And I think his argument is getting tougher to donors and supporters about being a viable alternative to Trump and Cruz at this point. And I think you're starting to see people in the establishment wonder whether there's an actual establishment candidate that is a viable alternative. And you're hearing some people in the establishment actually talk about Ted Cruz, who is really sort of the biggest anti-establishment candidate out there, as possibly a guy that could maybe start getting behind as an alternative to Trump.
Lynda, Rubio's home state of Florida votes on March 15. It's a winner-take-all state. Donald Trump has been polling very, very well. They're ahead of Marco Rubio. Now it appears that even Ted Cruz is thinking about making a real run at Florida. If Rubio doesn't win there, is he done?
Look, I think that next week is really do or die for Marco Rubio. And frankly, I think the only reason he's still in it, despite having had a series of really, really bad runs recently, is because, frankly, he's the most palatable candidate to the establishment still. As you note, Ted Cruz is not somebody that the Republican Party is really excited about. He's made a career out of being anti-establishment. Donald Trump is certainly somebody that they've had to grapple with and are not thrilled about. And so I think Marco Rubio is going to make a really hard push for it for Florida. But if he fails to win his home state, he's really done.
Steve Chaggaris and Lynda Tran, thank you guys both very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.